Jumbo and Enclosed team. My name is Christian Lopez, and on this video I will set out the functionality of my project for AWS Module. So to kick off, I'm going to give you a brief explanation about this project. I will begin by showing you the final result, which you can actually see. This is a GIF browser, so I can type anything, and the program, the application, is going to look for any GIF related to the word I am searching. But how did all this come up? That's what we're going to see in the video. This is the user data bash file that each EC2 instance we use when each of them is initialized. As you can see, there are several instructions, and I will come back here later on. But for now, this is the launch template, the launch configuration template that I will be using, and I'm going to attach in my AutoScaling groups. I want to click on AutoScaling groups for you to see my AutoScaling group, and this is mine, and we will see what's inside it. If you can see, I set up this one with the desired capacity of 2, minimum capacity of 1, and maximum capacity of 2, which this AutoScaling group will guarantee me that if one of these EC2 instances fails, it's going to recover one. This is the AutoScaling group, and I already attached this launch configuration, the launch configuration template, to this AutoScaling group as an image. And this is the security group. And let's go ahead and take a very brief look to the group. This is one that I created for myself. This is the name, and here are the inbound routes. So let's come back to the AutoScaling group, and once I initialize this AutoScaling group, it's going to create my 2 instances, okay, because I configured it with 2 instances. Let's go to the EC2 dashboard to see my 2 instances. These are my 2 instances, and of course, for me, in order to create an EC2, I should have created my VPCs, my subnets, my route tables, everything. Let's go to the load balancer that I created. This is my load balancer, okay? CJLB. LB stands for load balancer, as I said earlier. And these are the 2 instances that we previously saw on the dashboard, on the EC2 dashboard. These are the 2 instances, and in this very moment both of them are in service. Okay, these 2 are my 2 subnets, my 2 public subnets, okay, and both are at /24. And let's go to the description to see something pretty interesting. This is the DNS name, the public DNS name. This is the one that I will be using every time I want to access to my application. So I'm going to close here, I'm going to open a new tab, I'm going to enter this link, and it drives me to the web page, to the application. That's the reason why, that's the objective of the project, to access to the application by this link, by the load balancer public DNS. Okay, here are my availability zones. The port configuration, it says that this is the HTTP 80 port that is going to be listening. Again, I'm using the same security group to give access to this. And another last thing, let's go ahead and check out, let's check out the health check, okay? Okay, so let's move on to the next service that we have to take a look at. I'm going to open here, I'm going to click on AFS, because that's the next service that we had to check out. I have created my AFS volume, okay? I'm gonna click on here, and for now you can see that is the total size of my volume is 481 megabits. So, having set out every service that constitutes the infrastructure, it's time for us to behold how all the pieces fit together, okay? These are the instances, okay? I'm gonna try to get into access to one of these instances. I'm gonna connect to one of them. I'm gonna copy the SSH line, I'm gonna issue the command here, and I have access now. I have the access to this one, and I'm going to show you something. The server that I configured here is the Nginx, but remember something. These are one of the instances that the AutoScaling Group created for me, okay? But let's just see something. Nginx version. Nginx version. As you can see, the Nginx is already installed, but why? Remember that EC2 instance doesn't come up with all the services configured out of nothing. No, somebody has to create them, and that's why I have to come back now to the launch configuration to see in more detail. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna be user data. So remember, this user data is the first thing that it's configured or is issued inside of an EC2 instance, okay? Because it's the template that follows. The AutoScaling Group follows when to create their instances. I want to explain it in more detail now. These first commands, what do I do with them? I create basically the Nginx repository. With these two lines is how I configured and installed the Nginx server. With this line up here, I made a directory. With what purpose? Because of this next line, in order to mount my AFS volume inside of this folder. So as you can see, it's receiving different parameters. It's to start the Nginx server automatically. And what these final lines are, I issued these final lines in order to install some dependencies that the React application needs. Okay. So what happens with all this? This is the user data that is executed inside of the EC2 once it's initialized for each of them inside of this launch configuration template attached to this AutoScaling Group. That at the same time, inside of this AutoScaling Group, I specified the load balancer. So all the pieces are getting together, you see. Let me issue some commands here. df-h. You can see, you can visualize here we have the line that indicates that the EFS volume is configured correctly. What does this directory contain? We're going to see it now. I'm going to copy it. The chain, I want to go there and check this out. Let me see. Now we have all the application already mounted on this EFS volume. In this video, I'm not going to repeat the process of mounting the project because I just did it once, okay? And here are the two instances, okay? The two instances are working and in service. But what happens if some one of these fails? We will see it now. I want to test our system, our infrastructure, if it actually works. So I want to turn off some of this. I want to terminate one of these two instances. I want to pick this, for example. Then I can shoot down the other one. But let's just say I'm going to terminate the instance. I say terminate, and it says it's shooting down. However, in this very moment, I could go to bear out if it's still working. And as you can see, it's still working. It works. Even if one of the instances has failed, the infrastructure keeps going. And let's go to see the load balancer, what happened inside of the load balancer. You see, there is only one instance now working in service. However, because of the AutoScaling Group configured, the AutoScaling Group has to generate me one more instance to replace the one that I terminated. And in a while we will see it created here again. I'm going to be refreshing, and as you can see, is not created already. It's not created yet, and I will continue refreshing until the AutoScaling Group creates it. Okay, so I'm going to be refreshing, and as you can see, the page, the website is still working with one instance thanks to the load balancer. This is wonderful. And that's it. You see, this is our new instance. How do I know this? Let's go ahead to see the properties that it has. You see, it's inside of my VPN, so it is one of those that the AutoScaling Group created for me to replace the one that I terminated. And let's go to see the load balancer. You see, it's appearing here. However, it's still charging, so the status says that it's out of service yet. But this is going to change very soon. So I'm going to rename it. I'm going to name, sorry, what's the name of this? CJ AutoScaling 1. So I'm going to name this CJ dash AutoScaling 2. That's it. And that's it. You see, it's in service now because of the user data that says next to this line. You see, it works perfectly. And the page now, it continues working, you see, now with the 2 instances already. For this next try, I'm gonna delete or terminate this first instance. Remember, the one that the AutoScaling Group just created for us is this. But I'm gonna delete this one. I'm gonna terminate it. Terminate instance. Yes, terminate. It's shutting down, and the page continues working. Yes, then the previous instance has disappeared, and let's go to the load balancer, and it's gone, you see. But in a very while, soon after, the AutoScaling Group will create a new one for me. I will be refreshing until it turns up. It has appeared, and the page continues working. So I have already showed you the functionality of the load balancer. You see, with the AutoScaling Group, with the EFS, different services combined in one single infrastructure. And that's it. The new instance has already been created. I'm going to rename it now to the CJ1 because I have one that's called number 2. And now in the load balancer, we see both are in service now perfectly, and the page obviously continues working. Okay, so one more thing real quick before we finish. This is the last service I want you to see. It's about Route 53, and as you will know, Route 53 is a highly available and scalable cloud DNS web service. It effectively connects user requests to infrastructure running in AWS. So in this case, our request in running in AWS is the load balancer. Okay, so I'm gonna get into this hotspot zone. This is the domain, okay, and I have created my own record inside of this domain, which is this givebrowser.training.trumbo.cloud, and we're gonna see if it works. So now, instead of accessing to the load balancer DNS, okay, instead of accessing by that link, I'm gonna use this one here, record name, inside of the domain. I copy the link, I paste, and as you can see, it works properly now inside but now my load balancer inside of a training.trumbo cloud. But now my page works properly inside of a Route 53 domain, you see, which is amazing as well. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye.